Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Five Red Lights, and this is our top three performers from the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix. My name is Aaron. Let's get into this video.
One light, two lights, three lights, four lights, five lights, and it's go!
So before I start with our top three performers from the Bahrain Grand Prix, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you disagree or if you agree with who my top three performers were. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll leave a little link somewhere over here. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. We'll see. And check out our other videos. We've got our podcast, which went up this morning. And at the time of filming of this, it's a Wednesday, so it went up this morning. Have a look for that on the YouTube channel or find it on a podcast provider. But let's dive into our top three performers. And at number three, it's Alex Albon, just as he was come the checkered flag. When I saw Alex's shunt on Friday, it looked like it was going to be another of those weekends for Alex. It's a familiar story. He has some promising pace, and then it all kind of goes wrong. It all unravels a little bit, and it looked like it was going to unravel Friday night with that big accident. He kind of got it wrong on the outside there of the turn 15, which really isn't a corner, to be honest. So turn 14. But he learned from it. He made that same mistake. He made that same move in qualifying where he went wide. Excuse me. And he kept it on the road eventually. He didn't cream into the barriers. And eventually managed to put his Red Bull fourth on the grid. And this is the big issue for Alex. If he's qualifying fourth next to Max or just behind Max, then he's going to put himself in position to make up places at the start. He didn't make up that many places at the start. Well, I say the start because it was red flagged a quarter of the way through the first lap. But he was actually up to P4 by that point, and he was then dropped down to sixth for the restart. So a little bit unfortunate there, but his second start was good, and he got himself back to where he needed to be and benefited from Bottas dropping down with his puncture. So that was the first step to the positive result. And even just running around in fourth place all evening, as he did, would have been good enough for him because it was solid points, it was a consistent performance. But then he was on hand to pick up when Perez suffered his MGUK failure. He was at the front of the queue to take advantage of the situation, and then he found himself standing on the podium. So you can't say fairer than that. In second place is Sergio Perez. The heartbreak for Sergio. Not only is he out of a drive, he seemingly cannot buy regular podiums because he really should have had 3 podiums in the last 3 races. A strategy blunder in Imola, then they got it right in Turkey when he finished second, and the engine lets him down in Bahrain, the MGUK to be specific. He made 2 really good starts. He got himself up to third from P5, having beaten both Renaults in qualifying. And then from third on the grid at the restart, he challenged Max Verstappen for second. He was a little bit unfortunate, I think, to lose out there. I think that would have been a really good battle had Perez got ahead of Max. That would have been a really good tussle. But he was never really troubled by Albon. So given that he was pulling away from Albon enough, could he have kept Max behind long enough to make an interesting race, or would Max just have breezed past? We'll never know. But it was still a really good performance. His pace was excellent. At some points, he was lapping as fast or slightly faster than the leaders. So it just begs the question, how and why is this guy not in a seat for next season? If you're Haas or Alfa Romeo, why have you chosen the drivers you have when you could have had this gem of the midfield lead your team? Okay, the machinery might not be amazing, but he's proven with Racing Point that he will stick it out with less than optimal machinery, and he will progress that team, and he will pick off the points and the podiums when they are there to be taken. But that's the way Formula One is. He's going to be out of a drive. and he was also robbed of another podium, and it was one that would have been utterly well deserved. Moving on to our top performer, my top performer of the Bahrain Grand Prix. No, it wasn't Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen. It was Carlos Sainz. He was really unfortunate on Saturday. That brake failure in Q2, which brought out the red flag, and he was condemned to starting from 15th on the grid. But remember where he started in Turkey? 15th. He got a good start. The initial start got himself up to P13, restarted on the softs, and he just took off like a rocket ship. His pass on Charles Leclerc on lap 12, I think it was just sublime. He got the run, he had the DRS, but he came from so far back that he ended up having to do it on the brakes, which is exactly what we want from DRS. We don't want to see cars breezing past each other down the straight. We want to see a battle on the brakes. Leclerc, given the profile of the first three corners at Bahrain, had the opportunity to defend. If he'd been able to hang it around on the outside, he could have retaken the position. And he even tried to on the run up to turn 4. But Carlos made the defence, sealed the position, and actually wrong footed Leclerc, who was then dive bombed by Ricciardo at turn 8. So Carlos showing every facet to just keep reminding us, not that we need reminding, we know how good he is, that he is going to be a serious threat at Ferrari. And it is a marker for Charles because he needs to know that Carlos coming in, he's not going to be number 2. Carlos is going to want to come in and prove that he deserves to be the number 1 in that team. When they get the car correct, he wants to show that he is the one that they need to galvanize the team around to deliver the World Championship. Remember how Massa and Raikkonen sort of shared 1 year each in 07 and 08. If one of those two can take control of Ferrari, then it's going to be very difficult for the other one. But back to Carlos's Bahrain race. He used the tyre offset that he had, having run long on the softs actually. He went deeper than anyone expected, and it gave him a real advantage on a strategy because he was able then to put Renault under pressure, and he nailed both of them. They kind of helped him because the team didn't use the team orders when they should have, but he still had to pass the pair of them. And, making those moves is so important. He could have cruised up to the back of them and got stuck. He might not have been able to close enough through the middle sector, given that the cars are quite equal on performance. But he made the passes, and off he went. No, they never saw him again. He cruised up to the back of Gasly as he went through the race, and that late move was oh so crucial because when Sergio had his unfortunate MGUK failure, 3 laps left under the safety car, Carlos was already up behind Lando on the track, and that put him into a net P5. The second race in a row that Carlos has gone from 15th to 5th by the flag. 10 places. Just doing that once in a season is amazing. But to do it in 2 races in a row, that is absolutely exceptional. Absolutely brilliant from Carlos Sainz. He's my number 1 performer, and he is my tip for a very strong result at the Sakir Grand Prix. Check out the podcast that was uploaded this morning for a little bit more on that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Check us out on our social media channels, which will all be linked in the description down below. And I'll see you next time. That's the checkered flag. Stay racy, everybody.